This time. Hey, young lady, how are you? Hi, Emery. Can you hear me yet?
I can.
There we go. Well, Arnold's here,
Okay.
but you can't see him
Because. Okay.
because everybody's having computer issues these days.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, except you and me, I guess.
This is the first time I got the audio right away. I have to say,
Yep.
from all these weeks, and I also do a meeting in the morning on Thursdays, and I always had trouble until right now. I finally got it on time.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
getting there. Yay!
I mean,
It's
that's
gonna
what it takes,
take a
right?
while. What was that? So it's taking me a while, but hold on.
Yeah, now your video's frozen up.
What was that?
Now your video's frozen up. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I was trying to sign on, but my son came and was talking to me for a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it takes a while, but, you know, really, oh, I didn't tell you, but I just heard 3 days ago that Claremont is counting grades now.
Oh, they are.
Yep.
Now, Claremont is, I don't even know, is it LA County?
I don't know because Indian Hill is like the border, isn't it?
I don't, yeah, it's around there and I forget. So I'm curious if
I
it's
think
LA
it is.
County because Montclair's still San Bernardino, right?
Well, that's because our district office is on Euclid.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but I think Claremont is LA County. But yeah, they're counting grades now because I mean, of course, I mean it's
Yeah.
obvious. It's obvious to anyone. If you don't count grades, the kids are just gonna go on vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, well, yeah, well, of course, I've been on my son either way. I mean, knowing, of course, that the grades weren't going to change, but either way, he was struggling a little bit before, so he needed improvement. So he could not slack, but I definitely wasn't giving him an out.
Right.
That's
Well,
good to
most
hear.
parents were.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's good. That I hope they change it because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they could probably instill a certain program if there's students that need a little bit more, which I get, a little bit more help. There's students like that. My son is one of those because he's dyslexic quite moderately. So it's hard for him to even read the instructions sometimes of what they're asking him to do. But overall, you know what I mean? Most kids shouldn't be given that out so easily.
Right. Yeah, it's just enabling. It's codependent behavior, you know.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
making excuses for their misbehavior.
Yes.
So where is everybody? I thought we were supposed to be here promptly. Just the A students, right?
I don't know. See, it's not only the high school students now.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying anything.
Well, the worst part is tonight's the NFL draft, but
Oh, that's right. That's right.
really, I mean, you have a choice of what you got four more opportunities to hang out with me.
Yes, of course.
You can watch the NFL draft every year for the rest of your life.
I'm not a football person, so it doesn't
Yeah, me
impact.
neither.
I'm the only sport I really like is hockey. I'm a big hockey fan.
Really?
Yes.
What's your
Yeah.
team?
The Kings.
Really? There you go.
As you hear my voice say it, because it was such a disappointing last couple of years, but okay, your team's your team.
Yeah.
Do you
That's it.
like hockey or what sport do you follow?
I don't really follow any of that stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm a
Well, that's
hippie.
about all they follow. So
I'm a hippie. All I follow is guitars.
guitars,
Yeah.
you like that?
Well, I used to back in
Oh,
the day. Back when I was your age.
eh. My brother, he plays the guitar. I think I don't know what, 60. I'm trying to think, one, two, something like that. 62. I think he just turned
Hmm.
60. But he still plays. He grew up playing quite a bit. He loves the guitar. He loves music.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up with a lot of music.
Well, where's your twin sister Michelle?
You know what? I don't know. And in fact, we were talking the other day, and we even talked about maybe her coming over. And maybe we were going to do the class here from my place together. But I forgot to call her. I remembered maybe around 4-ish, and I called her, but she didn't answer, so I don't know.
Hey, Chuck. All right.
All right, checking in.
How you doing, dude?
All right.
Good. Good, man. Well, kind of light to start off with, but as you can see, we've only got 3 sessions left after this.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. Can you see my beautiful paper?
Well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So.
Oh, yeah. I didn't read it. Yes. Oh, it's warm in this room.
Yeah, it's
where I'm at.
Just kicked on for the first time this year.
Yeah, and I'm sitting in a room. I forget that this time of day it gets warm because the sun's right on it. Of course, up to now it hasn't been a problem, but these days have been warm.
Yep.
Change my location. We'll see.
Well, 2 months from now, you'll be wishing it was this warm.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was complaining about the weather that we were having, and mostly only because I couldn't get my plants to get growing. And now they're sprouting, but that's the only reason why I wanted the sun and the heat. But I don't like the heat most of the time.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Rudy.
Hey, Rudy. Anyway.
I'm on my class.
Oh.
Let's have to work.
You gotta let it sit for a minute. You gotta get vodka in there.
Oh, there's Michelle. Right?
Oh, yeah, it sounded like it.
I heard her.
Oh, no.
I can't see her, but.
No, that's Rudy's mom.
Oh, okay.
Are you actually doing this while you're
Yeah.
driving?
Hi, everyone.
No, right now I'm parked.
Oh.
I'm parked outside of Olive Garden in Rialto.
Olive Garden.
Yeah, you buy 1 meal, you get 1 meal for free.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, Rudy, I looked up foreigner prices, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
I should be?
Yes. Hey, look up foreigner prices. You should be ashamed of yourself.
What kind of prices?
You made the price, old man.
I see. Okay. So anyways, Chuck, I got rid of the 4Runner, the Silver Corvette, and the F-250 in the last 2 weeks.
You're on a roll.
I have a theory about this, Arnold. You know, each one of those represented projects. And by getting rid of those 3 vehicles, I bought like 2 years of my life. You know, and
About that.
well, you know, it's been striking me as I advance in years. It's been striking me lately that I'm running out of time. You know, it's like I may live another 30 years, but it won't be 30 good years. So I gotta be very careful about what I spend my time doing. I can't waste my time working on stupid stuff. You know.
Yep. Like that Suburban.
Yeah, it's like what little energies we have to channel them to where they're most effective in, you know, achieving what we want. So
I'm coming back.
Arnold, you back? Oh, Arnold did leave. He's coming back. Okay, he's gonna try it. Yeah, Chuck, Arnold was having all kinds of problems with his login.
Yeah, we were trying to troubleshoot it all day, trying to figure out what's blocking the Zoom.
Well, that's what happens when you pick your laptops out of the dumpster. Yeah.
Well, the cure all to that is you wipe it out and reload a fresh operating system. That usually takes care of everything.
Yeah. I mean, do you still have all that stuff?
Yeah.
Huh.
I've been loading Windows 10 like crazy.
Oh, sure.
The 7 is dead.
Yep. Jeez, that's been a while. 7 was before XP, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, after.
7 and then 8. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you can see, Mr. Arena, we only have 3 sessions after tonight. So I don't know how many people are doing the NFL draft, but it seems like that's a dumb thing to be doing if you only got, 12 hours left with me.
Yep.
I mean, you can.
I finally was able to log on to Electrude.
Oh, really?
It's badass.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. So good. What did you find out the problem was?
I don't know. I just reset my password and used my Yahoo email as a username, and I was able to get in.
Yeah, the problem is, they gave away this free program, and so many people took it that the customer support is completely worthless now. So I don't know. Their suggestion is that I reset everybody's password by hand, but that's hours and hours and hours of work. So it's kind of got kicked in the back burner. I got Spectrum this week instead of FiOS.
Yeah, big change.
I had 100 over 100, but Spectrum, they gave me like 400 download, but the upload's like 30. What the hell? So I don't know. Maybe these YouTube videos are going to take like 6 weeks to. Probably. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we're already recording, right? All right.
Yep.
Anybody have a chance to watch the recordings on YouTube?
Yes.
Good. They come out okay?
No, I'm talking about the one you posted, the video on
I posted 3.
fuel injection.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done each week for the last 3 weeks, so should be there. Well, anybody have any requests today before we get moving?
Yeah. I sent you an email on stretchy belts.
On what?
You ever heard of a stretch belt?
A stretch belt? Yeah. I used to wear them on my pants. You sent me an email to where? My school address?
I guess, yeah. Whatever was on the school when you email me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been overwhelmed with emails. They tend to get.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's no problem.
Okay, so I was thinking that while we only had 4 sessions left, I'd like to do some electrical, but did we do electrical already?
No.
We did some
No.
last year, yeah.
Hi, sorry I was late.
Yeah.
When you say last year, you're talking about October, November?
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Well, the reason I want to do this is because I want to go into ignition systems, and it's really hard to teach ignition systems if you don't have a good foundation in basic electrical. So let's start this way. Go like that. Go like that. Go like that. Oh, so I went through a big old training on relays today. Like 144 slide PowerPoint. Actually really cool, but
I picked out the bad points.
what bad points?
Especially that one diagram you sent me.
Oh. Well, he
You
sent
should
me.
never have your hot lead on a circuit that can then create a short because it's got a hot point to it. Because if you look at that diagram that you text me, it shows that you're putting the hot side on 30, which then continuously powers 87A on the relay, which makes that a hot point.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
reverse that and put the hot point on 87 and your device on 30, then you have a dead zone except for when the relay's active.
Yeah, but then you can't have it normally closed down and normally open on the same.
Yeah, but that one was showing that 87A was not being used.
Sure. Okay. All right. So this thing right here is called an atom. It's the smallest building block of nature. Everything's made of atoms. Yeah.
Yep.
And what holds the atoms together is electricity. So, well, electrical charges, put it that way. So yeah, electricity. Okay, so way out here on the outside, orbiting this bunch of junk in the middle, is what's called an electron. An electron has a negative charge. So we know positives and negatives, just like we have positive and negatives on the battery, and we have positive and negatives on magnets for the same reason. Okay, inside this electron's orbit from here to here, that right there is called the nucleus. And the nucleus is consisting of two different types of particles. That would be protons, and that would be neutrons. Yep. Now the protons have a positive charge, and the neutrons have
A negative charge.
no, they don't. They have no charge.
Oh.
A neutral charge.
Yeah. Because the electron has a negative charge. Now, what do we know about charges? We know that opposites
Attract.
attract,
Attract.
and like charges,
Repel.
yep, that's it. Okay, so how many protons? We should have the same number of protons as we have electrons. That's considered balanced. Balanced means equal numbers of positive and negative charges. So if we had 2 protons, we should have 2 electrons. If we had, 16 protons, we should have 16 electrons. And what you can see when you look at the periodic table is you can see how many of these particles each element contains. Like carbon has
Michelle.
16, 12, I don't know. Oxygen has 16. I know hydrogen has 1 and helium has 2. So hydrogen's going to have 1 proton, 1 neutron, 1 electron. That's considered to be balanced. All of electricity depends on unbalancing that electron and then letting it rebalance itself. And that's how we get electrons to move. I mean, it's important that you understand that electricity is the flow of, well, you could say charges, but I'm going to say electrons. Technically it's charges, but we don't need to get technical about it. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, there's this thing called ionization. And ionization is simply defined as adding or removing electrons from balanced
You want
atoms.
C drive so the chicken staying quiet?
Oh no.
There we go.
I can do this.
So
I've done worse than this while being in class.
So here's what we want to do. You need to understand that if I have 2 protons and 2 electrons, the atom is happy. It sees no reason to make any changes because it has an equal number of negative and positive charges. That's good. And an atom that has equal numbers of positive and negative charges isn't going to be motivated to do anything because, after all, it has everything it wants. So what we're going to do is we're going to either add an extra electron or we're going to strip an electron away, because what that's going to do is it's going to make the atom want to make some changes. For instance, if I strip an electron away, let's say I've got 2 protons and I got 2 electrons, and then I take away 1 electron. Well, I'm going to have 2 protons and I'm going to have 1 electron. That's going to give me an imbalance of charges. See, I got 2 positives and 1 negative. Well, what do you think that atom wants back?
Balance.
Yeah, it
wants to balance
back, right?
itself back out.
Yeah, just like if we lose our balance, we're going to kick all our weight to the other direction to try to restore ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. So what it's going to do is it's going to, if an electron, now folks, usually people don't teach auto this way, but I do, because it's the only way that makes any sense to me. And since it makes sense to me, it means I don't have to memorize everything, because my memory is really not that great anymore. If an electron is removed, the atom wants it back. Okay, so if I add an extra electron, what does the atom want to do with that?
Get rid of it.
Spit it out. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Good. Okay, can I go to the next page?
Yep.
Good. Thank you. Hey, Rudy, where's all your classmates?
I don't know. I can't really text anyone right now because I'm driving, so.
I wasn't asking you to. Okay, shoot. All right, well, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to strip a bunch of electrons from a whole bunch of atoms, and then we're going to provide a path for the electrons to get back. Because here's what happens. I got this big plate like this, a big plate of lead. It's a conductor, yeah?
Yep.
Big plate of lead. And I got another big plate of lead right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip all the electrons off of this plate that I can. And I'm going to deposit them on this plate. Well, that's going to make this plate want its electrons back. And it's going to make this plate want to get rid of those electrons. But let me ask you a question. If I had equal numbers of positive and negative charges here, and I just added a whole bunch of negative charges, is that, hey, Arnold, I can see you.
Yeah, I'm back.
Good, man. Good to see you. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of extra negative charges over here. And if I take enough electrons this way, eventually this becomes what we would consider to be a negative plate, which is to say it has an excess of electrons which have a negative charge. Okay, well, this has an excess of protons now because we stripped all the electrons and brought them over here. So now the net charge of this plate is going to be positive. Now, it's starting to look like a battery yet?
Yeah.
Because this is exactly how a battery works. And when we charge the battery, what we're doing is we're taking the electrons off of this plate and we're putting them on this plate. You say, well, that's fine. But look, what you've done here is on this plate, you've got a plate that wants electrons back. And this plate right here wants to eject electrons.
Where's Jim at?
Where is Jim at? Probably playing golf somewhere.
Mhm.
Oh, the golf course looks like they're about to open up. Well, I don't see him. Okay, so what this does is it creates a pressure. This has got a big suction wanting its electrons back. This has got a big pressure wanting to blow electrons out. You see that?
Yep.
What that pressure is called?
No problem. Thank you.
Electrical pressure is called voltage. And there is a unit called electron volts that describes the charges of these atomic particles. Okay, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to provide a path.
Doing that.
See, the electrons can't get back because there's no path.
Down my window without my permission.
Just like we can't drive.
I'm gonna have her
to
hand you
Hawaii.
the food.
Hey, Rudy, can you hit the
You
mute,
have room
please?
on the seat?
Yeah.
Thanks, Boo. All right, so sorry about that. The electrons can't get back to their home because they want to go home. The electrons can't get back to their home because there's no path, just like we can't drive to Hawaii. So what we're going to do is we're going to provide a path through a conductor called a wire. But what we're going to do is we're going to make these electrons go through a load in order to get back home. That right there's a light bulb. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know how sometimes the coyotes would require the immigrants to take drugs in across the border with them?
Okay.
Same process. That's what we're doing here. We're going to let the electrons get back, but we're going to make them work for us to get there. Get it?
Yep.
Because my question to you is, as these electrons go through this filament of this bulb, it's going to heat up. In fact, it's going to heat up so much it's going to start to glow. And what do we call that glow? Light, right?
What is it?
Light.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when the filament glows, it's going to create light.
Light bulb.
Okay, so going this way, we would call that charging. And coming this way, we would call that discharging. Now remember, the electron's not going to want to move. It's not going to want to travel unless it has a reason to, right? So we had to create a significant difference between this plate and this plate in order to inspire the electrons to move back to this plate. Now let me ask you a question. When all the extra electrons from this plate have gone home, will this bulb still light?
No.
No.
No, no, because there's no more electron movement.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Here's two balloons connected by a piece of pipe.
Mhm.
Now I've got 15 PSI right here.
You and your balloons.
Yep. When they quit working, I'll quit using them.
That's right.
All right, I got what's PSI?
Pounds per square inch.
That is correct. Good. So I got 15 PSI here and I got 0 PSI here. Will there be flow?
Yes, there will.
Yes, there will. Until when?
Until it balances out.
Until it's balanced out. Until it's the same on both sides, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. 2 more balloons. In fact, we did this last week, right?
Yes, we did.
Well, it worked out so well, we'll do it some more.
That's right.
150 here, I got 0 right there. Will there be flow?
Yes.
From high to low, right?
Right.
Till when?
So it's 75 on both sides.
Yeah. Now, my question to you is,
Till it balances out.
when all of the extra electrons go back home, what's the difference between these two plates?
Nothing.
Nothing. Good, 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 good. So it's as if, okay, let me make a third one for you. 2 balloons and a pipe. I've got 1,000 PSI over here, and I've got 1,000 PSI over here. Will there be flow?
No,
Why?
because they're already balanced.
Yeah, but it's 1,000 PSI.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. As long as these are both the same, pressure causes flow, right?
Right.
Okay, can you have flow without pressure? Can you have flow without a difference in pressure?
No.
No.
No. Can you have pressure without flow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure, look at your tire, right? Your tire's got pressure in it. Hey, let me ask you a question. If your tire's got pressure in it, how come there's no flow?
Because
There's
it's sealed.
no connector. There's nothing. Wait.
There's
Well,
no
in
path.
electrical terms, we would say that the resistance was too high.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so let me just finish this off. And you're going to find out that our discussion last week about fuel pressure and stuff like that, everything there applies to electrical as well. And that's actually by far the best way to understand it too.
Okay.
Okay, I got 0 here. I got minus 15 here. Will there be
Okay.
flow?
Yeah.
Till when?
Till it bounces out.
That's correct. Which direction?
Towards the 15, from the 0 to the 15.
Yeah, because pressure always goes from high
Highest to lowest.
to low. Yep, good. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Hey, Rookcliffe, it's working while I'm driving.
What? What?
I'm sorry.
I said the meeting is working while I'm driving.
Of course, baby. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. Okay, so right here, I have what's called a hose bib. You know these? There we go.
Spigot.
Yeah, spigot, sure. Plumbers call them hose bibs. Okay. There's two things that plumbers care about. There's pressure and there's flow. Okay. What's pressure? Pressure is what creates the flow, right? Pressure is the push.
Yeah.
The force. What's pressure measured in?
Pounds per square inch.
PSI.
PSI is correct. Pounds per square inch. That is correct. Now, Uniform Plumbing Code tells us that this pressure has to be between 15 to 80 PSI. Well, if pressure is what makes flow, why don't we kick it up to like 800 PSI or 8,000 PSI?
Blow the lines.
You could, couldn't you, if you wanted to?
Yeah, you
Right.
could, but let me ask you a question. Which is more likely to leak, something at 80 PSI or something at 8,000 PSI?
8,000?
Yeah, absolutely, right? So not only would it be much more, it'd be much harder on, the pipes and the fittings and all that stuff. But let me ask you, what would happen when you opened up this spigot?
Well, it would blow up pretty much.
Yeah, cut your foot off, basically.
Yeah.
Because, those airless paint sprayers come out at 3,000 PSI and they'll cut your fingers off if you go like this, if you spray in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watch out for pressures. In fact, that's why they say hydraulics. In the study of hydraulics, you don't ever feel around to see if there's a leak, because if it's like 3,000 PSI, it'll just cut your fingers off, or it'll
Wow.
push the oil in you so hard that it'll enter your bloodstream and poison you.
Wow.
So we don't do that. Anyway,
Yeah.
pressures in PSI. Uniform Plumbing Code says 15 to 80 PSI. Now,
Charlie, when you get a chance, give me a call.
All right.
my question to you is, why don't we run, 5 PSI?
Too low.
Not enough pressure, yeah.
Yeah, well, what problems would that cause?
There'd be no flow, so it would be
Pressure.
Yeah, it would take like an hour to fill up a pot for, spaghetti, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Uniform Plumbing Code says it has to be between 15 and 80 PSI, just like, you know, a battery has to be between 12.6 to 13.2 volts. It has to be in a certain range because everything in the system is designed around that. And there's, you know, safety issues, right? I mean, look what happened when we went to hybrid cars. They've got batteries at 440 volts and people were getting killed left and right. You have to have specialized equipment to work on these things. Okay, so the flow. Flow is measured in what units? GPM.
Gallons per minute.
Yep,
What is it?
gallons per minute. What's a gallon?
It's a liquid measurement.
Of volume, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
How much does a gallon of water weigh?
Oh, like 16 pounds or something.
No. 8.33
32 ounces. I don't remember.
pounds.
It's been a long time.
Yep. So gasoline will weigh less than that. Oil will weigh less than that. How do you know? Because oil floats on water? The measure of its density,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It weighs about 9 pounds.
8.3.
Yeah.
Believe that. Trust me on that. So my question to you is, if I have a 5-gallon bucket and it takes me 1 minute to fill up that 5-gallon bucket, what's my flow rate?
You have a bucket and what?
I have a 5-gallon bucket,
5 gallons a minute.
5 gallons per minute. Good.
Yeah.
And if I have a 5-gallon bucket and it takes me 30 seconds to fill up that bucket, what's my flow rate?
2.5.
1,000 gallons a minute.
Yeah, you went the wrong way. How much?
1,000 gallons a minute.
No, my friend. 1,000 gallons a minute? What the hell? No. Oh, Nana's here.
No, 10 gallons.
10 gallons per minute. That's better. Hey, Nan. Okay, and if I have a 5-gallon bucket and it takes me 2 minutes to fill up that bucket, what's my flow rate?
It takes you how many minutes?
2.
Um,
What's 5 divided by 2?
250.
What? Divided by 2.
2.5.
2.5 gallons per minute. Yep.
Wrong with
Okay.
me. That's what I said. Oh, I didn't say the point, huh?
Oh,
I did? No, I said 2.5. Okay.
Here, yes.
well, yeah, you got the first 2 digits right. Anyways, my point was that when you're a plumber, that's what you care about. You care about pressure and you care about flow. Well, let me ask you a question. When they turn off your water because you didn't pay your bill, what they're going to do is they're going to shut off the valve that feeds your house. At that point, how much pressure are you going to have?
0.
Oh, a lot.
And when you have 0 pressure, what's going to happen to your flow?
Goes away.
None.
Yeah, you're going to have 0 flow too, right?
Yep.
Because remember, pressure causes flow, not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Good, 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 good. Well, here comes the good part. Let's write this down like this. The magic triangle makes everybody happy. Hi, Tomas.
Hello.
You're late, buddy. Where you been? Come on, let's go.
I'm sorry. I've been busy on Electude.
Oh, good.
I can't get on it. I tried. I'm gonna have to call that lady.
Chuck, what was your secret to getting on Electude?
I used my email and then I recreated my password.
I tried that. Didn't work.
Well, I have 2 emails. I have the Gmail, which we get on the class with, and then I have my other email, the one when I signed up for school. And that's the one I used to log on to Electrude.
I tried that. It didn't work. But I mean, with my only email, so.
Hmm.
I'll figure it out. I'll call the administrator.
Well, I mean, what I did was I said I forgot my password, and then they said,
I did that too, but that didn't work. It still didn't work.
oh,
Hello.
That's interesting.
And you are logging on to Electrude, right? You are logging on to Electrude website?
Yeah. Through the link I got in my email. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it saying that it doesn't recognize your email? I'm just curious.
I don't know because it sent it to my email, so I got it. I got the email, so it has to be the right email, you know.
It should be completely like separate, but I think maybe there's problems with everything because I know that I was trying to sign on to like my bank account, whatever, using my email, and then I think my Costco, whatever, sign on, and both of those told me that it didn't recognize my email. It's like the only one I have, the only one I've used, and I know my email obviously, but so those two sites also told me the same thing these last few days.
I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
And you're not using a VPN
No.
or a proxy server or anything?
Nope.
Huh.
Nope.
I don't
So
know.
I don't know. I think it's just made because everybody's on. They're such a confused.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people going online right now. So maybe that's it.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely that.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we need to do. These are the magic triangles. There's two of them. This one is Ohm's law.
Okay.
This one is Watt's law. And they're best friends, BFF. So here's how you do it. You put your thumb on whatever you want to find, and it gives you the formula for that. For instance, if I want to know what E is, it's I times R. If I want to know what I is, it's E over R. If I want to know what P is, it's I times E. If I want to know what I is, it's P over E. And if I want to know what E is, it's P over I. Yeah, so let me write that down.
Yes.
E equals I. Ah! Golly.
That's my favorite part.
C equals I times E. Folks, we only have 3 more sessions, so you need to do everything you can to be here ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm sorry I was late.
Hey, Mr. Rocliffe, I got a question.
Yeah.
Well, besides the coronavirus and the pandemic having us in quarantine and stuff like that, are we able to continue on another semester? Because like I really need to finish your elective program.
Okay, but see, here's the thing. The future of, look, if you can imagine the tax revenues that are not being produced by the state of California right now, remember that's the income we use next year. So there is great danger for adult school. There's great danger for ROP. There's great danger for schools because after all, they're going to be really, really short on money, bad. And the thing is, you know, if we've only got 6 people showing up out of 30, that's going to be a problem. It shows a lack of interest.
Yeah.
And, you know, it shows lack of community investment, really. And also what happens is, you know, I told you the principal said that he was not averse, quote, he was not averse to having makeup sessions where we could go in during the summer and work in the shop and, you know, make up for all the time we lost. But folks, you got to realize if there's, you know, if there's only a handful of people at that point, you know, because I have to report attendance. And they have all the classroom codes. So they can watch all this as much as anybody else can. If, you know, if it doesn't show, you know, some significant interest on the part of the community, you're sure as hell not going to pay me to show up to, you know, have a bunch of extra sessions.
Yeah,
so
right.
Whoever you know and whoever you're friends with and whatever, you need to take it seriously. We need to make sure that this does not cause the complete collapse of Chafee Adult School, you know?
Yeah, really.
That's, you know, that's really, to be honest, I don't mean to scare you or anything, but that's really the stake that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I would like to get back in the shop. I got a bunch of stuff I need to do, and so do you. But yeah, so we really need to hit that hard, man. I cannot.
There's a lot. There is a lot of assignments on elective. Like, I mean, a lot.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't giving those to you so that all of those were required. I was just giving those to you so that you can go as far as you can. It's a
Oh,
self,
okay.
right?
So are we gonna show up on a Saturday to make up this time?
Geez, I hope so, man.
If more people start showing up, we get
Why
better off.
Why don't you email the class body and say a free raffle for a free oil change if you
He
show
shouldn't have
up?
to do all that. He shouldn't have to do all that, right?
That's true.
That's a lot
I
of work
say you
for
give
him.
it to
No,
him.
you should just show up
He
because
should want to be
you
there.
want to learn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well,
It's kind of
yeah.
disappointing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
Well,
our final is gonna be based on your exam or elective to the exam.
I doubt we'll have a final. We usually don't. I mean, the problem with having a final is that it pretty much takes a whole period's worth of instruction to do. And I'm not really convinced that the results are going to be any different than me just looking at you and saying, well, how hard did this person work to you in class? You know?
Well, right. Yeah, we're adult school. We need to be looking at this stuff at home on our own too.
Besides, really what you're supposed to be doing in this class, since it's competency-based education, what you're supposed to be focused on in this class is not intellectual accomplishment. It's supposed to be your ability to do things.
Right.
You know that paper I passed out?
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Now, see, I just got off the Zoom. I did Zoom meetings all day today. 7:30 this morning, I did Citrus Advisory Committee meeting, and they said that they're looking to do basically what the University of Phoenix was doing, what I was telling you before.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
looking at having all remote instruction and then just having the students come in and just pile on the labs all at once, you know?
All right. Another thing is, will I be able to come next year or
Yeah, of course.
do it all over again?
Yeah, because the good thing about competency-based education is that if you never accomplish anything, you can basically take it forever,
Will
theoretically.
I be able to get on electude again?
Like me.
I don't know about electude because electude's really expensive. It's like $9 grand. So especially with the cut in revenues coming in,
Yeah.
I really don't know, but we'll see. I mean, I hope so.
I mean,
How are we gonna get our grade?
it's scary because you think that they're going
Tell
to
me
have
what
to
you
do
want.
services because they don't have income coming in.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's right.
the whole.
McConnell's talking about, some states that were already messed up filing for bankruptcy, right?
That's
It's
the
just
whole
getting to be a
plan.
big mess. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
the whole plan. Why do you think it's happening in an election year?
I know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point I was trying to make was, fortunately, most of our funding comes from federal, but I don't know whether we're going to be able to swing electude. That depends on, everybody's Perkins requests. But as far as that goes, yeah, the only thing you got to watch out for is, remember, we've had waiting lists for ever since I started teaching it. That was a joke. Not really, though. We've had waiting lists for this class for.
Yes, you have since you started out in Ontario and Montclair.
Right, which is the big problem if you're looking to take it, semester after semester or whatever. Because if you don't get in there early, there's a chance you could be, overbooked.
How long have you been teaching it?
3 years,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So when are we gonna have our final? Or for me, who has been here for like 2 semesters already?
Well, like I said, technically there's not supposed to be a final, but I can give you one.
Oh,
Why,
wait,
you
wait.
graduate?
I don't know. I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible, really.
Yeah, me too.
So like, when are we gonna come back for the ones
doesn't know.
that were here?
Who
for
knows,
Nobody
man?
knows yet.
If it was up to me, we'd be there now.
Yeah.
I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, everyone is, but so, we'll be back as soon as we can. Hopefully we'll get funding to have some makeup sessions, but I got to tell you, if we have makeup sessions, you're going to have to get into that shop and hit it hard. No standing around talking, no talking about the draft, no talking about the Dodgers. You're going to have to get in there and hit it hard because there's going to be very, very few opportunities It's going to be very short, man. You
Right.
have to get in there and hit it hard.
Okay.
You know, be prepared.
Of course.
Because, like, you know, the University of Phoenix, if you get a master's in registered nursing or a bachelor's in registered nursing, you do that all online, and then you go to Florida for like 2 weeks and do all the clinicals in 2 weeks. So you need to be prepared at that point. You need to
Oh,
be able
yeah.
to do all that
Better
stuff
be.
before you get there. Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, and if you show up late, nah,
Yeah.
not my problem, right?
Right.
So, anyways, that's the dealio there.
All right, I'm done.
So, yeah, it's
something
a
real quick?
difficult. It's a
Oops.
difficult thing. We're all working our way through it, you know, but we only lost 1 week as far as I'm concerned. So I think we're doing good.
Yeah, I really enjoy your classes. I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, me too. Thanks. I look forward to this all week.
I
So do I.
enjoy being around to help everyone.
And jack all my foreigners.
I have a question
What?
on Electro. Can they tell how many of Chafee students have actually logged on and used the software?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I could tell. Yeah. How many adult school students have logged on? Yeah.
So we need to get them to be logging on so that it would justify the cost of purchasing it.
Very correct. Very correct. So, who here has been able to successfully log on to Lectude?
Not me.
I have a couple of times, but then I had trouble other times. So, but I eventually had got on, but it's slow. I don't know. It's
Yeah, because they sent out a brag yesterday saying that 1,500 more schools had signed up. And as you can imagine, if you sign up an extra 1,500 schools, I don't know how many they started with, but probably 300, it's going to
Yeah.
bog down the system bad.
yeah, because I think I on like the first time, and it was, and of course I was playing around trying to figure it out, but it's the
You're cutting out.
oh, I was just saying it seemed like the response was slow when I actually did get on one day, and I was
Right.
kind of personally just hitting buttons and playing with it, with it, but I didn't know if I was doing something wrong or if it was a response time, so it was difficult. But
Yeah.
I
Sorry
know,
about
but
that.
you know, not recognizing emails, these different sites. I mean, I think it's just that so many people are on, you know.
Right. Yeah, they said something about how they were overwhelmed. So it's like, okay, what can we do? All right, so let me finish.
What
this up.
browser were you using?
What's it? What?
What browser was Anna Maria using? Browser.
Anna Maria, what browser are you using?
Well, I don't remember. Oh,
Yeah, you can use Firefox. I'm on Firefox right now with my browser, and I'm using Electric pretty good.
Okay.
you know, that day, I don't know, because you know, also I was at a different location, so I don't know if that was it. So I'm gonna have to go back and try. Then I'll let you know.
Yeah, do what you can and let me know, yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's what I'll do because, well, you guys are down by the email address you gave us, which turns out was only good in like 2/3 of your cases. But if you could go in there and say, I forgot my password, that might be a workaround.
I tried that. It still didn't work.
Great. Well, I
Yeah.
do have a couple extra slots, so we'll try that.
Because I really want to go on it.
Yeah.
But
Okay. All right. Oh, no. Well, there they are. Well, we got 2 more people, so
yay.
Jimmy! Jimmy, what's going on? You're just in time because I was just about to turn the page. Hello, Mr. Jim, is that you? Ah,
I recognize that fan from anywhere.
there you go. Hey, Jim, is that you?
That's me.
There we go. You're Galaxy S10, right?
Yeah, that's me.
I wonder why it keeps calling you that.
Oh, I'd really be called that than something else.
Jamie, how you doing?
Doing good.
Good. Glad you made it, man. I was just
Me
pointing
too.
out that we've only got 3 sessions left after this. So gotta do what we can to get here and make positive steps. You got this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, been working on my car all day.
Been actually working? Good. Good. That's good, man. I'm gratified to hear people are working. You know, I was talking to one of my students, 15 years old. She's a sophomore. And she said she was working in a factory from 10 to 6 a.m. 15
Wow.
years old.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's not right.
Yeah.
So
Boy, I'll say. But
yeah.
you know, a lot of these people's you know, their parents have lost their jobs. I mean, it's tough times for a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
it? 33 million
Yeah.
people out of work. That's 15% of the workforce.
A nightmare.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah. No
nightmare.
kidding. No kidding. Yeah.
So, you got this?
Yep.
Take a picture of it, guys.
I wrote it down.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, the people that just showed up, I'm saying, why don't you take a picture of it so I can move on?
Sorry.
Yeah. I just did. I took a picture.
All right. Well, you newbies, I wish you guys had been here on time because this is you're gonna lose if you lose the foundation, your house ain't gonna be that strong. Anyways, let me point out what this is. We're here 6 to 9 every Thursday night. Big smiles on our faces.
Yeah.
I, R, P. That's all you need to know is 4 things. E is electromotive force. Sometimes they call that EMF, if you ever see it described that way. Now, the fuerza electromotivo, yeah, it's the force that makes electrons move.
Okay.
And that is called voltage. Voltaje. And it's measured in voltios. Looks like that. Yeah?
Yep.
Now you say, why is it E? Well, it's E because all over the world it's E. Now, a lot of places they'll teach you that it's just V, but if they do that, then you'll see E and you won't know what the hell it is. If you learn E, then when you see V, it'll just make it that much easier. Okay, I is current. Oh, I skipped something. So this is, sorry, electrical pressure. See, I missed my board. Sorry about that. That's electrical pressure. Remember, the plumber only cares about 3 things: pressure, flow, and resistance. Hey, what does resistance do to pressure?
It slows it down.
That is correct. Good. What does it do to flow?
Lowers it.
Lowers it. Yep.
Slows it down.
Okay, good. Current, corriente, or
Amps, right?
electrical
Oh, no.
flow. That's correct. Good.
Do you have a whiteboard?
Yeah, it's right here. Now, technically, the term is amperes, but you'll never hear anybody use that.
Oh.
What you'll hear them use is amps, and that's going to be a big A like that. What I'm trying to do, folks, is I'm trying to get you so you can use meters by the end of this couple of weeks. Did I already teach you guys how to use meters?
You showed us something. Showed us the ones you have in class, or the test thingies.
Well, I just don't want to be going over everything twice, you know. Is this helpful?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
R is for resistance. Resistancia, right?
Resistance. Okay.
All resistance is resistance to flow. And that's measured in ohms.
What up, Holmes?
What's up, ohms? Just like that. That's the Greek letter omega, and that's the symbol for ohms. P is for power.
Power.
Power is measured in watts. That's a big old W, right?
Yeah.
So let's put the magic triangles back here. E, I, R. Put this one back here, which is P, I, E. And let's start drawing circuits. If you don't mind.
Do it.
Thank you. I will. That right there is a battery. And it's not a ground. See, a ground has big line, little line, little line, little line, dot. This has big line, little line, big line, little line. What's that plus sign for?
Positive.
Positive.
That's the positive side of the battery. Good. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my light bulb. And then I'm going to come back here.
I will be logging on with my computer in a few minutes.
All right, see you in a minute. Did I ever tell you poor people stay poor because they make bad decisions?
Did you ever tell us what?
Poor people stay poor because they make bad decisions.
Really?
I
believe it.
don't remember, but it sounds like something you would say. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's like because I've got that Camaro inside the shop, you know, where she spent $600 on the fuel pump, even though she hadn't confirmed it had a fuel problem. I don't think she's ever gonna come out because you in this life you can't keep making bad decisions and end up winning.
That's so true.
You know.
Yeah.
That's why if someone wants to tell me how I can make better decisions, I'm all ears, man. That's a good friend who can show you that.
That's right.
All right, so here we are. We have a battery over here. That's a power source.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bulb over here, and that's a load. And then we have conductors, which are the wires that connect all the parts. And the fourth thing that every real circuit has is controls. So that's 4 parts of every real circuit. Now you'll notice that there's no switch in this circuit. So why don't you go ahead and tell me what's going to happen in this circuit that just has a battery, a bulb, and a conductors?
It's gonna have flow. It's gonna make a circuit and have flow.
No, it's not going to do anything to you. Ground
And
it.
it's going
No.
burn up the bulb.
No,
And the battery also.
you're connected to the negative side of the battery.
Oh, okay. I see that.
Ground's primarily a safety thing. And in cars, it's there to cut the number of wires you use in half. But it's not necessary. It's to keep you from getting zapped when you touch the headlight, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So the battery's here. It's got voltage.
Mm-hmm.
And the bulb is here. So that voltage is going to create flow because we've created a path for the electrons to flow. But as we're doing that, what's happening to the voltage of the battery?
Draining the battery.
Yeah,
Draining the
draining
battery.
the battery, which is to say, these two plates are getting, the positive and negative plate are getting more and more alike.
Okay, Rolos, let me in.
Rolas, what the hell? Sorry about that, dude.
It's all good.
Yeah, you would think it would give you a ding or something, but it doesn't. So the reason they don't make circuits like this is because this light would just turn on and get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Right? We don't need a circuit like that. We need to be able to control a circuit. What's an example of a control mechanism?
The headlights.
The headlight switch.
Yeah, the switch. That's what I mean.
Right? Yeah, okay. Good. Or a dimmer, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, we got to use something to control this flow because after all, we don't want that light on all the time, do we?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So you got this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Take a picture of it if you don't have it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We're moving on. You sure?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Well, let's do this. We got a big old battery right there. Huh? What's that plus mean?
Positive.
Yep, that's the positive terminal of the battery. Now, we're not going to worry too much about that yet, but I just wanted to show you how it's drawn. This right here is a bulb, and as the electrons travel through this bulb, that filament's going to glow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Creating light. What else is that going to create?
Heat.
Good. Wonderful. Good, good, good. Okay, well, let's do this. That's 12 volts. It's not going to be 12 volts. It's going to be 12.6 or who knows what it is, but we just call it 12 because we're trying to understand the principles here. This bulb has 4 ohms of resistance. So we know that, well, there's a little triangle like this. EIR PIE. Okay, well, we have this, which is E. We have this, which is ohms. So the only one of these that has E and, well, let's call that resistance, sorry. Does that make sense? Resistance is measured in ohms.
Ohm's law right there.
E is measured in volts, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we want to find out is, well, we've got E and we've got R. So what we want to find out is I. So we put our thumb over I, and we see that I equals E over R. I equals how much E? How much E do we have?
4.
12. 12 volts.
12 volts.
Oh, sorry.
Over how much R do we have?
4.
Oh, 4.
4.
4 ohms. Okay.
So it would be 3, right?
12 over 4 equals 3. 3 what?
3 I.
3 volts.
I is measured in what?
God, I already forgot.
Yeah. Yeah,
Current.
Amps.
Current.
Current.
that's correct. So what we see is these are tremendously powerful because what they do is they enable us to see what's going on in the circuit by only knowing 2 things. Now, see, just because we know the volts and we know the resistance, we can tell how much current will flow. And since we know the volts and how much current will flow, we can also tell how much power we have. P equals I times E. Well, I is 3 and E is 12.
That's 36.
P equals 36. Now 36, power is measured in what units? Watts.
Watts, yeah.
Yep. So now we know exactly what's going on with that circuit. And you say to yourself, well, this is just an imaginary circuit, right? But what it really is, the significance of this is, Chuck, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my ammeter right here and I'm going to measure how much current flow I have. And if I don't have 3 amps, I'm going to wonder why.
You have no light.
Yeah. For instance, if I have light and if I have no light and I have voltage, I'm going to wonder why.
Yeah.
Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this. New problem. Shoot. Didn't mean to do that. Doggone it. Big, small, big, small. That's 12 volts right there. We're going to go to another bulb. This is how I do the negative side of the circuit with a dotted line. It just makes it easier for me. I got 12 volts there, and I've got 2 ohms there. Let's do it this way. PEIR. Now, which 2 of these are we given in this example?
Volts and
ohms. And
How many volts?
12.
Good. How many ohms?
2.
2.
2 ohms. Now, let me show you a little secret and why I like to do it this way. 2 times what equals 12?
2 times 6 equals 12.
Yep.
Mhm.
6 times 12 equals what?
72.
36. Oh, 6.
Yeah. See, if you put your values in this order, all you have to do is multiply up or divide down. It's really, really easy. And then you don't have to do all this busy work, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's discuss. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's discuss what we did with this circuit. Can you see how the amount of resistance is half of what it is in this example?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's got half as much resistance. So what happened to the current flow?
Goes up.
It doubled. Yep. Good. Good. Now, since the current flow doubled and we have the same voltage, what happened to our power consumption?
Well, way up.
Yeah, it doubled too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now while we're on this topic, because I was in 3rd grade in 1973. I guess I wasn't in no, I wasn't in 3rd grade in 73, 72. I don't know, it was a long time ago. 2nd grade. I was
A long time ago.
1972. And we had the Arab oil embargo, right? Oh, can't talk like that. Anyway, we had the oil embargo. So what they decided they would do is they took out every other light bulb in the classroom because the price of electricity had doubled. Now that got their electrical bill back where they wanted it, but what happened in the room?
You couldn't see?
Yeah, it was
You couldn't
dark.
see. Yeah.
So,
Okay, what year was that again?
72, 73.
Well, okay.
You have no idea the privations I've been through.
I'm gonna remember.
We can tell.
Yeah, back then we used to have to walk to school.
Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to walk to school through the snow.
Uphill in both directions.
Yeah. In my bare feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had shoes, luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, my point was, let me ask you, if I was looking at this bulb and looking at this bulb, what would I notice?
One's brighter.
Which one?
The top one.
The top one.
This has got twice as much current, right? And it's consuming twice as much power.
Oh, okay. So
Which
the bottom one.
Bottom one's going to be brighter.
Yeah.
It's going to be twice as bright. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to use 12 volts just because it's like the industry standard and it's pretty much standard for cars and trucks, vehicles like that. But you know, we'll flesh out the details a little more back when, you know, when it becomes an issue. Right now, it's not an issue. All right. Questions, comments, thoughts on this before I move on? You got a picture of that?
No.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, people say, I mean, I don't want to learn how to do this. I just want to get the meter out. Well, the thing is, the meter, first of all, you're probably going to hurt yourself because you won't understand why you have to use the meter in a certain way. Second of all, you won't understand what the meter has to tell you because after all, if you don't understand this, you're not going to understand the circuit.
No.
I'm enjoying this, and I was always slow about this, but this is pretty good.
Me too. That's why I teach it this way.
I
'Cause
mean, I
that's
can
the only
see
way I
it.
can understand it.
Beneficial. Yeah.
This is my favorite subject.
Yep. This is the money,
Because
man.
this is what I base my business off of.
Yep.
So you think that in the future it's all going to be electrical, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Electrical and electromechanical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
Interesting.
know, I mean, that's definitely the way we're headed.
Humans are electrical.
That's true.
It does seem that's the way it's going.
Well, that's why, and no, seriously, that's why when you do the EKG with the 10 leads,
Oh yeah.
what you end up with is a voltage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, we shock each other.
That's why you need electrolytes when you feel weak.
Right.
That's right.
All right, you got this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Brondo has electrolytes. That's what.
No, I don't have it. I don't have it.
Plants crave.
I need it.
All right, let's practice. 12 volts. Come over here. We have,
Amplifier.
that's a motor. That's a motor.
Okay. Okay.
EIR.
100 amp circuit.
That right there is 20 amps.
Oh, 20.
That right there is 12 volts. All right, do it.
Oh.
You know, they say that smoking protects you from coronavirus because it like kills all the.
Damn right.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was drinking Guinness. So,
What?
Mm.
I don't know if that protects you.
well, Guinness has antioxidants in it. So,
Oh, here it comes. Yeah. I got invited to come drink some whiskey tonight. I was like, man, I haven't drank whiskey in a long time.
You drink?
16 years.
Wow, I wouldn't do it then.
Well, not like I was drinking. Anyways, my point was, what are we given in this example?
We're giving the
20 and
volts.
12.
Volts and amps.
Okay, I'm giving volts and amps. How many volts?
E&I.
Volts are 12.
12 volts, 20 amps.
This is going to give me an ugly number. Well, not really.
No, it won't.
20 amps. Okay. What's 12 times 20?
230.
240.
240. Good.
240 watts.
Okay. What's 12 divided by 20?
6 ohms
What?
of resistance.
How much?
0.6. 0.6.
Punto seis. That's correct. That makes sense? 240 divided by 12 is 20. 12 divided by 20 is 0.6. 0.6 times 20 is 12. 20 times 12 is 240. See, you multiply up and you divide down. And that's the easiest way to do it. You'll get rich doing it this way. You want another motor?
Okay.
No, let's do an amplifier.
No. I do what I want.
Rolas, 24 volt.
What?
24 volt.
Not yet. That's 12 volts. This is
Okay.
30 amps. Now, other than Rudy, this is going to draw more current, right? It's going to have more flow. If it's going to have more flow, what's going to be true about the resistance, you think?
Less.
Good. That's it. Good. Let's see if you're correct. PEIR.
Done.
What are we given in this example?
Volts and
Voltage
E
and
and
the
I.
12 volts and amps.
How many amps?
30 amps.
30.
That's correct. Okay. How many watts? Not you, Rudy.
Darn.
360.
360.
Good.
360, 360.
Good. Jimbo, how you doing? Anna, how you doing? How much resistance I got?
0.4.
Good. Yeah, make your points big, right? 0.4. 0.4 what?
Yep.
Ohms.
Oh,
That is correct.
yes. Leave it in there.
And then you don't have to eat yours, and then you take yours first.
Or I can eat mine in yours.
This is bacon, right?
According to Michelle, she said that the resistance was going to be lower, and that's what was going to cause the current flow to be higher. Was her hypothesis proven correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, so my question to you is, are we controlling the amount of flow in a 12-volt circuit by the resistance?
Sure.
Good. Michelle, you're freaking whiz at this. That's good. That's a good problem to have. Okay.
That's good. I finally have somebody I can talk to.
You're funny.
Okay, you got this? Can I go to the next
Yeah.
page?
Yeah.
Got it?
Got it.
All right. Another motor?
No.
Hey, what does that M stand for?
Motor.
Motor.
Correct.
Why?
Because I don't want to play your driving.
All right, that's 12 volts. That's 3 ohms.
E.
Solve it. Good boy. Doing good, pup.
Well, you said that was 3.
3
Oh,
ohms.
okay.
What are we
3
figuring
ohms.
out?
Okay. So we need amps and we need the resistance.
What are we given in this example?
Volts and the
Volts.
ohms.
Resistance.
Yep.
And ohms.
All right, so to remind you, multiply up, divide down. 3 times what equals 4?
3 times 12 equals 4.
What the goddamn hell did you just say? LA Unified.
11.
LA, hashtag LA Unified.
Okay.
3 times what equals 4? I'm goddamn.
Oh,
3 times
4.
what equals 12?
4.
Glendora
4.
Unified.
4.
That's not what you said originally, though.
I know I was all, what?
Yes.
48 watts.
Okay, 48 watts, right? Because 4
Right.
times 12 is 48.
Yeah.
Hooray! What? Couldn't be that easy, right?
Answer way, Rolla.
Wouldn't think so.
Yeah, when you see how easy it is, it makes you wonder why people have been in this industry 20 years and they still don't know how to do it,
Right.
you know? People are scared, man. People's fears drive them around. That's a horrible life.
Not me.
Hey, Chuck, what should drive us around? Our fears or our desires?
Our desires.
Desires, I would say.
Yeah, our goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Possibly none of us would be here right now.
that's a good life, right? Okay, so let's say I want to have 36 watts power consumed. Yeah? P
Yeah, 36 watts.
R. Easy one. You done yet?
Done.
Well, that's because you had me as a teacher.
Okay, what are we finding?
Everything.
Oh, okay.
You're on your own, girlie.
4 and distance is
3. Right.
Oh, this one.
Everyone done
Oh,
yet?
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I figured you would be, Michelle.
Gee,
You know,
thanks.
it's funny, back when I used to teach this in East LA, I used to have Rudy come up on the board and just solve all of these in Spanish.
Oh, cool.
The students were tripping, but it worked really good, you know.
Yeah, it does make sense when the way you explain it.
Okay, I'm going to do tonight's lesson in Spanish. Tenemos 12 voltios, 36,
Wadios, quack.
I forgot what watts is.
Wadios.
I wouldn't know either.
Wadios. Anyway, so what are we given in this example?
We are given power at 36 watts. We are given voltage at 12
At
volts.
12.
So how many amps is that?
4 amps.
What?
3.
3 amps.
Three.
3 amps.
3, Sancho?
That's right. 3
Oh,
amps.
like 3 amps.
And
Sorry.
0.4.
4 ohms of resistance.
Yep. 0.4.
Nope.
No.
12 divided by 3
okay.
is 4.
Oh, yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Arnold, you got me?
Wrong numbers.
You just moved your decimal point over one too many, Jim.
Yeah, I know I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, this motor draws 48 watts. This motor draws 36 watts. Assuming they have the same construction, why do we want this motor to consume more power?
It needs to. The requirement to meet the requirement.
What are we getting for our extra energy?
Extra strong power.
RPMs?
Yeah. This is going to be stronger, might be faster.
Or power.
Now, this one saves energy by being slow and weak, assuming the same construction. See, this is why you got to watch out for the hippies, because what they want to do is well, right now I've got 2 light bulb fixture in this room. One of the bulbs is burned out. Am I saving electricity?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm only using half as much electricity, but
It's also half as bright.
it's freaking dark in here. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you're back in school.
Yeah, well. And the weird thing was, Jim, after they took all those bulbs and threw them in the trash, the next year when they had a new electrical budget, they replaced all the bulbs.
Yeah, we used to switch license plates when we had the gas crisis. Yeah, because we used to have an odd even day
Oh, I remember
on the
that.
license plate. And so we used to switch license plates with guys at the shop. If you
I
needed
remember that
gas.
odd and even stuff. That was terrible.
Yep. Yeah, I tell the students, the price of gasoline doubled, and they're like, and I said, yeah, it went from 29 to 58 cents.
Yep.
All right, you ready?
We're ready.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Excuse me.
Coronavirus.
COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
Yes.
All right, I got me a light bulb here.
Okay.
PEIR. I'm going to say
Oh my. Sorry.
coronavirus.
I better mute myself.
Bless you.
120 watts.
12 volts.
P.
All right. Let's see if I can log out. All right, you done yet?
No, not quite.
All right, what are we given in the example? Always look for what you're given.
Right.
Volts
12
and
volts.
You don't know what you've been given. You don't know what you need. It may take
Might take you years to find out.
Damn.
That band used to open for my band all the time.
That's a cut.
Jim, like
Remember the
butter?
Ball Freaks? Remember the Ball Freaks? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
10.
Well. That's very
10.
interesting. That's very
10.
interesting.
My
You know who
10.
used to open for my band was the Big Bad Voodoo Glow Skulls or something?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I lived next door to one of those guys.
See?
I lived in Upland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the high point of their career. Fishbone. 120 watts, 12 volts. How many amps?
10.
100.
What in the holy hell?
10.
No, I'm wrong.
10.
10.
Thank you.
10.
Yeah, sorry about that.
How much resistance?
1.2 ohms.
1.2 ohms.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Same circuit. But I'm going to change the resistance of the bulb. And I'm going to say 60 watts. Just to, this is how, right? Energy saving bulb, I'm going to put in a 60 watt instead of 120 watt.
Okay.
12 amps.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
How'd I know?
Oh,
12
so
volts?
12 volts is still the same? Okay.
Yep, still 12 volt.
5 amps.
5, yeah.
Yeah, 5.
60 watts. 5 amps.
5.
2.4 ohms.
Is it? Yeah, it's twice as much as that, right? Okay. Now, my question to you is, when I look at these two bulbs, what am I going to notice?
That the 60 watt is dimmer than the 120 watt.
Yeah, it's half as bright, right?
Yeah, one's brighter than the other.
Yeah. You're going to
Unless
notice
you
the
switch
60
to
watt,
LEDs.
the 60 watt bulb, well, we're assuming the same construction on both, right? The 60 watt bulb is going to be dimmer because there's fewer electrons running through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Now, current flow creates heat. So the glow, the amount of glow we're going to get out of these filaments is going to be directly proportional to how many electrons are flowing through the filaments.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's going to be way brighter. And if you think you're going to move to this one just because you're going to save energy, you have to realize there's a cost to that. And the cost is it's not going to be as bright. So this is going to be brighter.
It's going to be hotter.
It's also going to be hotter. Good, thank you. It uses more energy. Man, I love that song. When you've never been a victim. Man, they deserve a crown in heaven for that song. Okay, so that's my theory on that. Now, my question to you is, are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what? It's 7:30. You want to take a 15-minute?
Yeah, could we?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
No, you have to wear a diaper in this class.
I already am wearing one. It's all good.
It's all to the, and you divide down. So
Okay.
you multiply in this direction and you divide in this direction. Look, I didn't even do it yet, but 120 divided by 12 is 10. 112 divided by 10 is 1.2. 1.2 times 10 is 12. 10 times 12 is 120. So
You're running by me again. I was getting it.
Charlie. The simple way
Hmm?
is it's not going into anything advanced other than
it's not.
division and multiplication. So as long as you can know how to divide and how to multiply, you are in great shape.
So I'll take the first two values, I plug those in. So I will take, for example, the 120 watts on the top and the 12, and I'm gonna multiply those straight away.
No, you're gonna divide. Because remember,
Divide
you
those
down, right?
Okay. Okay.
Divide down, multiply up.
Okay. So once I divide down, I get the value of I.
Yep. And then
Okay.
you divide the voltage by the amperage, and you get the resistance.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still continuing dividing down. Okay.
Yeah, because you're still going down the chart.
So between 10 and 12, I'm actually, I lost right there. Am I adding or dividing right there?
You're always, if you're going down,
Dividing
you're always
down.
dividing. If you're going
Right, okay.
up, you're always multiplying.
Okay. I see. Okay.
1 by 2 times 10 is 12. Yeah.
Let's do another one. You
Yeah,
got
I get it. I get it now. Okay. All right.
You got this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Charlie,
Yeah.
the easiest way to understand this is to use your triangles. I would take a separate sheet and just put the two triangles on it
You could do it that way.
and just do like Real Cliff said. Cover the part that you need to figure out. It gives you the answer.
I think that's more steps. Well, it's definitely more steps.
I like road cliffs because it's down and dirty.
Yeah, it's very, very. All right, I got 12 volts here. This one's for Chuck. I got 12 volts there. Chuck, how many ohms I got? 2?
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Is that 2 or 2.5? Oh no, it's amperes. Never mind. Two.
I'll be right back.
All right, we'll be here.
So it's 6 and then 2.
Back.
There we go.
There we go.
Is that
Coronavirus.
25? Is that 25? Oh, 2.
2 ohms. 12 volts.
6 and then
Alright.
2, right?
Well, I don't know. I just made up numbers out of my head. So that's 12 volts and that's 2 ohms, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, Chuck,
So there's 10 amps.
I can either say what 12 divided by what equals 2, or I can say 2 times what equals 12.
10 amps.
Yeah, I do 2 times what equals 12 because multiplication is easier than division.
Okay.
2 times what equals 12?
6.
6.
6 what?
Oh, 2 times 6. Yeah, 2 times 6. Yeah.
Yep. 6 what?
What?
6 what?
Yeah.
I is measured in what
Amps.
minutes?
I forget what
6,
the I is.
6 amps. 6
There you go.
amps.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, Chuck, 2 times 6 is 12. 6 times 12 is what?
36.
72.
Better be 72.
72.
72.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
Wow.
Now, let me try this.
Oh.
Doing another one?
Yeah, why not? Just to finish it off.
This is good practice, Jim.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm math challenged.
Well,
You know, four out of 3 people have trouble with math.
quack. Well, that's down from 3, right? Chocolate
Okay, so
rations
that's-
have increased from.
So that's
The easy way is
That's
to
12.
call a calculator, bro.
On that top one,
what is that going to be? 1.
One.
What, Arnold?
Okay.
Arnold, you saying something?
that's okay.
1.
That's, Wallace, I was saying, okay, shouldn't that
12.
top one be 36,
44.
36 to 72?
6 times 12 is how much?
6 times 12 is 36.
No.
72, okay, no,
6
okay,
times
gotcha.
12 is 72. Yeah.
72.
So
Got
it's
it.
140. It's 144, 12, 12, 1.
Really?
60, I got it.
Okay.
You got it.
1, and that's a 12. 1
Right.
times what equals 12?
12
Good. 12 what?
Amps.
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 Good. 12 times 12 is what?
144
144
144 what?
Watch.
volts.
watts.
There you
Oh,
go.
watts. Shit.
Yep.
Oops.
What?
That's my problem. I got to remember what the little things stand for. That's where I keep forgetting.
It's practice, man. And look,
Yeah.
you can make up, 10,000 of these for yourself. Just do yourself a favor and make the numbers so that they divide evenly.
Okay.
You know, if you can't go wrong with 3s, 4s, 6s, and 12s. Now, as you can see, we've got half as much resistance, so now we got twice as much current flow. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's going to be
Yep.
true with this motor compared to
It's going
this?
to spin twice as fast.
It's more
Or it's
power.
going to be twice as strong, depending on the construction.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so my question to you is, which has more resistance? The motor in your fan
Or actuator.
or the motor in your starter?
Starter.
Starter.
What did I just ask? Which has more resistance?
Yeah.
Which has more resistance? Starter motor
No.
or
I'd say the starter.
Starter.
No.
Yeah.
Door motor.
Yeah.
remember, what's resistance going to do in the circuit? Is it
Lower
gonna
the
be more current
voltage.
flow or less?
Lower the current.
Right.
I'll show you.
Less current, higher resistance.
Right. We use resistance to control the amount of current flowing through the 12-volt circuit. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let me demonstrate that to you, and you'll be amazed. Have you got this?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody got that? Jimbo, you're not making much noise.
I got it.
Jimbo, you're already in. Huh. Okay. Let me know. Okay. So typical starter motor. Now I'm leaving out the switch and stuff because it's not important to what we're doing right now. There we go. 12 volts there.
Okay.
240 amps there. This might turn out weird, but I don't care. PEIR.
It was 240.
This is gonna end up weird, huh? Did I do 200 instead? Yeah, let me do 200 instead. Be a little less math. All right, what you
200
got?
amps. Wow. Where am I here? Oh, okay. 3,600.
Well, we've got 12 volts, yeah?
Yeah. 12 volts. Yeah.
We've got 200
Okay.
amps. What's 200 times 12?
3,600.
What? What's 2 times 12?
24.
2,400,
It's going
right?
to start with a 24. So it's going to be 2,400 watts.
That was my
Starter
next
motor,
answer.
right?
Yeah.
How many fruit chokes are you gonna want for lunch?
How about it?
We have your lunch right here.
There we go.
And how many fruit chokes are you gonna want?
Okay, what's 12 divided by 200? Oh,
What?
0.06? 0.06?
0.006.
Is it?
No, 0.06.
Yes.
I
Right?
think it's 0.06.
0.06.
Yeah, 0.06.
Yeah. So how did we get so much current to flow? Because this is the biggest current draw in the whole car. How did we get so
We
much?
also got the largest cables.
Well,
By
yeah.
lowering the resistance?
By what?
By lowering the resistance?
Absolutely. Look how low it is. That's
Yeah.
next to zero. That's why this circuit doesn't have a fuse on it, because it's this close to a dead short anyway. You can't measure 0.06. Well, you could barely measure 0.06 ohms with an ohm meter, barely. And it'd have to be a pretty good one. Yeah, the way we get a lot of current to flow is by dumping the resistance to next to nothing. That's why, you know, this starter motor is going to get hot as hell if you keep cranking it. Is a starter motor designed for continuous use or intermittent use?
Intermittent.
Yeah, absolutely. What does intermittent mean?
Stop and go.
Not
Good.
constantly.
Stop and go.
Yeah.
Means on and off.
hmm
Yeah.
Yep.
So motors are rated two ways: intermittent use and continuous use. Continuous use means it's running all the time. Like your, I don't know,
Tesla.
Tesla. Yeah, sure. Okay, good.
Would it make a difference if it's a AC motor or a DC motor? If it's running intermittent or continuous, or no?
I don't think so. It's all
That would
about
just be-
flow of current, right?
It would just depend on the control, right? On the controller of the.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
In the circuit, yeah. Current creates
Heat.
heat, yeah. And that is I squared R.
Oh God.
Anytime in physics you see a squared, you're in big trouble. Like E equals mc squared,
Yeah.
or what's velocity? F equals mv squared. Hey Jim,
Yes, sir.
in golf, what determines
Yes, sir.
how far the ball gets hit is not how hard you hit it, it's how fast you hit it.
That's correct.
Yeah, because
No, it's
Yeah.
how fast you. It's how fast you swing the club and the length of the swing.
that's correct, because V gets squared. V is velocity. So if you can swing twice as fast, you're going to get 4 times as much distance.
Yeah, it's mass plus velocity.
Mass
Equals
times
power.
velocity squared.
Yeah, equals power.
Yeah, force. There you go. Good. Now, Rudy brought up an important point. Hey, you got this? Hey, Chuck,
Yes.
is that good for you?
Yeah. I'm looking how you plugged in the values right there. That's an algebra equation right there, the bottom one.
Yeah, but it's very, very basic algebra.
Right.
Yeah. It's just multiplication.
Right.
Yep. Now, if you look at I squared R, you'll see, well, you know, 200 squared is a lot.
Yep.
What is 200 squared? Like 400,000 or something? 40,000?
That's 4,000. Right? No?
No, that's 200 times 20. So it's going to be 40.
200 times 200.
That's what I thought.
40,000 times the resistance, which is next to nothing. So anyways, let me go on. Rudy brought up an important point that I wanted to bring up with you.
40,000.
40,000.
Yep.
Way off.
Big current requires, well, I mean, folks, you need to understand the only reason I'm this good at it is because I did it all the time, you know?
Yeah.
When you do it all the time, it gets really easy. Big current requires big conductors. Why? Because it's going to create heat.
Lots of heat.
Right there's a piece of wire. Wire has 2 parts. What are they?
Insulation and the conductor.
Insulator and conductor.
Good. Insulation and the conductor. Now, insulation has what type of resistance? High or low?
High.
Super high.
Astronomically high.
Yeah. But not infinitely.
Nope.
Enough voltage, it'll poke a hole through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the conductor has what type of resistance?
Low.
Low.
Good.
Astronomically low.
Not really. Not really. I mean, if you have 120 volts and you run a number 12 wire like 100 feet, you're going to lose like 5 or 10 volts. Voltage drop caused by resistance, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And on distance.
Yep. Conductors. Now, let me ask you a question. If I use bigger wires going to my headlights, would my lights be brighter?
Yes.
Yes, they would. Total circuit resistance is what determines the current flow. So if I had less resistance in my wires, yeah, I'd get brighter. I don't know if you'd notice it. Conductors.
It would be a whole lot harder to terminate at the headlight, too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you use like starter cables going to your headlights, they would be brighter. Probably cost you $80,000 to wire up your car, too. I mean, silver is a better conductor than copper, right?
And gold's better than silver.
Yep.
No, it just resists corrosion better.
No, it's also got lower resistance, too.
Nope. Silver's better. But silver will oxidize, right?
Yeah.
How old dimes get that gray, chalky look?
Yeah.
That's oxidation. Just like pennies turning green. All right, conductors create a path for electricity to flow. Insulators keep electricity
From going where we don't want it.
Yep. And going where we don't want to. Ah! Sorry about that. So insulators have high resistance, conductors have low resistance. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yep.
That's why the electrons will travel down the conductor, not the insulation.
Hey, real Cliff, I heard that YouTube is blocking videos that talk about Corona and COVID.
Only the ones that don't echo the party line.
Huh.
Yep. That should tell you something.
Yeah, it does.
Yep, should. All right, you got this?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's say starter. Starter motor. It's a big motor, right? It's basically like a 5 horsepower intermittent motor. So the starter, maximum starter draw is 200 amps for a 6-cylinder.
I don't know who grabbed those. I finished mine.
175 amps for a 4-cylinder.
I know. I drank mine.
225 for an 8-cylinder.
Here, bring 'em.
And 250
Bring 'em.
for
Yeah,
a
bring
10-cylinder.
I'll drink
So
them.
what's the W16 on Bugatti run?
Maximum allowable. Well, that's hard to say because the pistons are so small. Starter draw. 'Cause even though that has 16 cylinders, it still only has like 300 cubic inches. Right?
Yeah, just bring me any.
I don't know.
Bring the one that's
It's
most
a
full.
small motor. Okay, so this is the maximum allowable amount of current that you can draw with a starter motor. As you can see, it's huge, right? In fact, it's the biggest starter draw in the whole car, which is why what's true about the wires that go to the starter motor?
They're large.
Big. Biggest wires in the car, right?
They have to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you put a big stereo system in like me.
Yeah, fuel pump. Fuel pump's probably drawing 30 amps. So, you know, this is probably double-aught cable. That's big. Because it goes, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, double aught. Fuel pump truck probably draws 30 amps. Do we need to have a cable that's as big as the one that goes to the starter to carry?
No.
No.
If it takes a big pipe to flow a lot of water and it takes a big wire to flow a lot of electrons, that's how you remember it, which is useful, right? Because
Yeah.
what we can do, if we understand that, what we can do is we can look at a wire and we can make some assumptions about how much current is flowing through the circuit just based on the wire size. Get it? Because copper is expensive. They're not going to put a way oversized wire in there. They're just not going to do it. Okay. Well, Rudy brought up this point, and so did Arnold, and I think it's useful. Resistance of a conductor is determined one, two, three, four.
Number one is material.
Yep. Now, what do we mean by material? Well, steel and aluminum and cast iron and copper and silver all have different resistance, right? Some are better than others. Silver, we know that silver is a better conductor than copper. Then why don't we wire our house with silver wire?
Too expensive.
Too expensive.
Way
Too
expensive.
Costs too much.
Copper is great for what we use it for, but it's not really great as a conductor. Copper corrodes a lot, and it's also weak. It work hardens. If you keep shaking copper, eventually it'll break. Okay, so number one thing that determines the resistance of a conductor. Now, why is the resistance of the conductor important?
Because that determines how much power you get.
Good. All right. Resistance of conductors is determined by material.
Number two is length.
Diameter.
Oh yeah, diameter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the order. Okay, which has more resistance, a big pipe or a little pipe?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the
Little
question.
pipe.
Which
Little
has
pipe.
more resistance, a big pipe or a little pipe?
Big.
Little pipe.
Oh no, little.
Little pipe
Yeah.
Little
has
pipe.
more resistance.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to In-N-Out, they're going to give you that big old straw, right?
Mhm.
The shake is so thick, they're going to give you the big old straw. But now, if you're selling free refills, you're going to give people a small straw. Why?
Because
It's
less
longer
will
to
come out of the
drink it.
straw.
Because
Yeah,
it
it's
takes.
hard. It's harder to.
Yeah.
It's harder to empty a cup. See, one of the things is if you get In-N-Out with the big straw, you can empty. If you're really good, you can empty out a cup in like 3 sips. Good.
Yeah.
Like when your pipe gets clogged and then you have to clean it out. All right, Rudy says length. Do you believe him?
What is it?
Length.
Length? Yeah.
Okay, which has more resistance, a long wire or a short wire?
Short.
Long wire.
Wait. More resistance would be short. Right?
No, long wires have more resistance.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for instance, like if you're trying to blow water through a garden hose, would it be easier to do with a 6-inch garden hose or 100 feet?
Okay. I
You
get
ever
it.
try to empty out a garden hose by blowing the water out? If that's a long hose, it's hard.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Besides, if you check the water pressure coming out of a short hose versus the water pressure coming out of a long hose, you'll see that the water pressure is way lower in the long hose. Why?
Right.
Because all resistance. Yeah.
Mhm.
There you go. Does that make sense, Chuck?
Yeah.
Chuck, you with us?
I'm following along. I'm paying attention.
All right, Arnold. The fourth thing is temperature.
That's the one I always forget.
Right. But it's important because everything expands
When it gets hot.
when it gets hot.
Hot.
Since it's longer, it's going to have more resistance. So the higher the temperature, the more resistance you're going to have.
Is that why they were trying to run the underground feeders with a nitrogen? The
No, that's to
nitrogen.
keep moisture out. They pressurize the conduit to keep moisture out.
I thought it was nitrogen to keep the temperature down so that they can flow more current through it.
No, nitrogen's not coming out as a liquid. You can't have it come out as a liquid. It takes a lot of energy to keep nitrogen cold. No, it's just to keep water from coming into the conduit.
Why does heat cause resistance?
Because when an atom gets hot, the electron orbits further away from the nucleus. The atoms get bigger, and the space between atoms gets bigger. So as a result, the whole thing gets longer.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like Chuck will say, or Arnold will say, you know, what you can do is you can put the, what did we used to do? We would put the transmission case in the spread washer to get it really hot, because that'll make the hole expand. Then when we were putting bushing in it, we'd put the bushing in the freezer because that would make it shrink. Then you push the bushing in, and when everything warms back up, the hole gets smaller and the bushing gets bigger, and it gets stuck in there.
Press it.
Trick, my friends. No charge. No charge. Well, that's why, you know, if you have a bolt, sometimes you can heat it to get it to come loose. Stuff like that.
Like a rusted bolt?
Sure. Yep. Sure, because, you know, it's going to be going like this. Stuff's going like this all the time. In fact, folks, if you want proof of this, go look at the church parking lot, which is made of asphalt. And what happens in the summer is it all expands, and that's why it gets all those cracks in it, because it's got no place to go. And then when it gets cold, it all shrinks and makes even bigger cracks, and now you got big problems. Asphalt is a good example because it's a semi-liquid actually all the time. If you were to go to Indian Hill, corner of Indian Hill and Arrow Highway, you would see that where the buses park, the asphalt's literally like this, like 4 inches high, where the wheels aren't.
Wow.
Crazy. Anyway.
Because the buses have pushed the asphalt out to the side when it's hot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because of their weight.
Yeah.
A better example of that is in downtown LA, they had a bunch of those.
Yeah, of course. It happens any place you have asphalt.
Where the trucks and the buses all run, there's grooves in the road.
Right.
Yeah, in the freeway.
All right, let's get back to this.
Yeah,
it says
those
right here,
too.
light bulb is 2 amps. Now, if it's 2 amps, what size of wire do I have to run to it? A big one?
No.
No, just a little one, right? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, just a little one. That's why I say it's a pretty good indicator of how much current a circuit draws just by looking at the wire size. You know?
Yeah.
You're going to notice that well, you can notice this.
Hey, dude, can you turn that down and put on some headphones or something?
There you go. All right. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Someone's got a microphone that's way hot.
Oh, no.
So do me a favor and mute yourself. That would be fantastic. Let me try this. Oh. There we go. Okay, so I have, sorry. Let's see. Let's go like this. Same old circuit we've run before. I'm going to write my bulb like this now. And that's 4 amps. That's your plus, that's your 12 volts. PEIR.
Okay.
What's this?
Open circuit.
Switch.
A switch.
It's a switch.
What does a switch do?
Power.
Turns on and turns off.
Let's make a truth table for a switch. There's 2 ways a switch goes. It goes on and it goes off, which means it's closed or it's open, which means low resistance or no resistance.
Or infinitely high resistance.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to have a problem solving this, right? Because as long as that switch is open, how much current flow are you going to have?
None.
None.
Good.
None.
Well, we know if we have 12 volts and we have 12 volts, the only thing that can stop current flow is what?
High resistance.
Resistance, right? The only thing that can stop current flow is resistance. This has got infinitely high resistance, which means the resistance is so high you can't even measure it. And what does that mean to current flow? It means you got to have 0 as long as that switch
None.
is that
Open.
right there is an open switch.
Right.
Now, once I close that switch, basically it's got 0 resistance. So if I was to close this switch, what would we get? Get 12 volts here.
48 watts.
Right.
How many?
48 watts.
48 watts.
Okay. How many amps?
4.
4.
Good. How
3.
much resistance?
3.
3 ohms.
3 ohms.
3 ohms.
3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 12 is 48. 48 divided by 12 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Yeah? Multiply up, divide down. Now, Chuck, let me show you why this is so important. Because I don't know how much resistance this has when it's hot. Because it changes. The resistance of this bulb is going to change when it gets hot. So the only way I can tell how much resistance it has by checking the amps right here, right? I'm going to come in here with my ammeter, my little inductive ammeter. It's going to tell me 4 amps. That's an inductive ammeter. What does an ammeter measure?
Amps.
Amps.
Good. Yep. So, Chuck, this is what I wanted to show you. I can use an ammeter in this circuit, and whatever value it gives me for amps, I can just plug it into this, and it'll tell me what the resistance is. Yeah?
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
That's the power of all this. I mean, if this was just an intellectual exercise, I would have no interest in it. But this is,
Well, you could do that to test a fuel injector.
it's an insane tool for that, right?
Exactly. Or anything that uses current,
Yep.
like a fuel pump.
Anything
You
that uses
connect
current.
that meter onto a fuel pump line, like one of the power lines, and you could tell if your fuel pump's working or not.
Yep. You saw it on Electude. They were testing the current flow. Yep. Now, you brought up this question, so I'm going to ask you. Did you have that last page, or should I go back?
We got it.
Fuel rail.
Oh, for real. Okay.
What does the fuel rail have sticking out of it?
Fuel injectors.
Fuel injectors is correct. Thank you.
Of course, that first one's awfully big and that last one's awfully
Yeah, I know.
small.
Sorry about that. 12 ohms. 12 ohms. 24 ohms. 12 ohms. The specification from the factory is 12 to 16 ohms each injector, because all it is a solenoid. It's got a coil. All right, so this has 24 ohms. Is it going to flow as much current?
Nope.
No, it's clogged.
It's going to flow half as much. No, it's not necessarily clogged, because
Okay.
clogged is a mechanical thing, but there's something wrong with the coil. It's got high resistance. As a result, it's only going to get half as much current. Now, if an injector only gets half as much current, it's only going to squirt half as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Because it'll
why-
only open half as much.
Yeah, because it's only going to open half as much. Because these are all going to get 12 volts, right? Now, let's review.
Yeah.
What determines the current flow in a 12-volt circuit?
Resistance.
Resistance. That's it. That's one thing. Now, let's do this circuit like this. There's a PCM.
Kitty, no.
And then, what's that?
Power drain control module.
What's this thing
Ground.
right here?
Brown.
Battery.
That's a ground.
Battery. Ground.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's basically, Jim's correct, it's battery minus. That's the negative side of the battery.
Okay.
Okay, so the PCM is going to complete the path to ground. We're going to come in here like this, and we're going to have the coil for the fuel injector. And then this is going to go to B plus with the ignition on. Ah, can you read that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's say that the fuel injector does have 12 ohms of resistance. That's good, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Problem is, over here, you got a bad connection. You got a bad connection with 6 ohms resistance. Yeah, 6 ohms of resistance. Why is the connection bad, Rudy?
Your wire could be corroded.
One.
Your wire
Could be broken. Could be broken.
Not completely broken, but partially broken.
Right. Or frayed. Or
What about
frayed.
loose?
Frayed.
Loose.
Loose. Bad connector. Yep.
So there goes your resistance, right?
Contaminated.
All these
Right.
things create resistance. Improperly terminated, sure.
Yeah.
All these things create resistance. You know what usually causes this problem is people using steam cleaners, and they shoot it at the electronics,
Oh, yeah.
and it's under enough pressure to where it can get in the connector, but it can't get out. And all that water and all that soap just corrode the connector. That's why when you look at a modern connector.
Hey Dave,
What?
shift your camera a little bit over to your right, just a little bit.
You mean that one?
Yeah, that one.
Face camera?
Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because now we're catching you while you're working instead of only half of you.
Okay, what you're going to see on a modern connector is this. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. That is what we call a weatherproof
Okay, boot. Oh, boot.
connector.
Okay.
Ooh,
This is the male
damn.
end. Do I have to explain male ends and female ends?
No,
God, I hope not.
you got that.
Because this thing and that thing and that thing are all seals. Because we're having so many problems with resistance caused by corrosion. So what we're doing now is we are making those connections weatherproof as much as we can. Now we might use dielectric grease too to cover all the connections so they don't oxidize. That make sense, Chuck?
I use your silicone spray now to put those connectors on.
Oh, sure. Why not? Good. Okay, so the question is, I got 12 ohms here. I got 6 ohms here.
18 ohms total.
Yeah, because this is 18 ohms total. Chuck, what does the increased resistance do to the current flow?
Should drop the voltage a little bit.
Drops the voltage and the current. Yep.
0.08 ohms. I mean 0.08 amps.
Yeah. You're going to drop 4 ohms across this resistance, which means this injector is only going to get 8. That's called voltage drop across resistance, right? You're going to drop 4 ohms across this resistance. You're only going to get 8 to the injector, which means the injector is going to choke. Now, how would you know that without an ammeter?
You wouldn't.
If you disconnect this connector from the injector and measure it, it's going to be right on. You don't know there's resistance until you connect it. And the only way you're going to know resistance is by using an ammeter.
Yep.
And the only way you're going to know how to use an ammeter is by knowing what I've talked about for the last 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Now, folks, if you're not crystal clear on this stuff, do yourself a favor and watch this video over and over until you see it. But it'll come. You'll see it. You'll see it and you'll love it because, I mean, this is the modern world, folks.
Right.
It really is.
Well, with cars getting more and more electrical, this is what's going to fix them.
Yeah.
So you suggest taking an electricity class too?
Yeah, with me. Well, this is an electricity class. This is what we're going to be doing. 4 sessions of this. You guys are going to be hardcore. You are.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which is very good. Okay. You got this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Questions, comments, thoughts on that before I go
No.
to the next page? All right. Let me see. Ah. So Rudy,
Talk to me.
last week I was using jumper cables, and I looked at the freaking connectors and I said, you know, I know exactly what these connectors are. You know, it was on a RAV4, I guess, had a big ornate connector on one terminal, and I was like, that's got to be the positive, but it wasn't.
It happens.
Yeah, so, you know, you got to use a flashlight on these things, folks, because even me with all my experience, I was like ready to hook it up backwards.
Yikes. Can't that ruin your electrical
Everything? Yeah, it can ruin your everything.
stuff? Yeah.
It can blow your computer up on your car, too.
Yep. Eat your alternator. Right there's a battery, folks. And it's got a plus and it's got a minus. It's called a top post battery.
$342.
Tomas, if you want to say anything, all you got to do is hit the space bar, just so you know. All right, that right there's a top post battery.
That's what you pay
Now,
for the cigars.
here's what we need to know. Two types of electricity. Direct current
Alternating current.
and
alternating.
current. Direct current is there because of batteries. Alternating is created by Michelle, to answer your question, I would be here early and I would stay here late every freaking night. I would. Created by rotating magnets. Which we'll talk about soon.
Next week.
Yeah, it might be. So there's two types of current. That's all you got to worry about. Alternating current, direct current. All your battery stuff and almost everything on your car is going to be direct current. So
unless you're dealing with an electric car or a hybrid.
what's not direct current on a electric car?
Some of the motors are not direct current on some of the electric cars.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Like the Nissan Leaf runs an alternating current motor.
You know, I had some students, because I'm having my daytime students learn how to buy a used car. And they were all fired up about getting a Nissan Murano. Nissans come with that CVT transmission. No, no. Don't get CVT transmission. Very bad. Okay.
Worst transmission ever.
Worst transmission. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so V is for voltage, right? There, on your meter, there's going to be two markings. It's going to have a solid line with dotted lines underneath it, and it's going to have this wavy thing. This one is
direct current.
Direct current. Voltage. And this is the thing you're going to use the most on a meter.
On a car.
Here.
On a car, yeah. Unless you're in the house, right? You're in your house, and then you're alternating.
Yeah, if you're in the house, you use alternating current. Hey, Arnold, you want that bumper jack?
Bumper jack?
I have a bumper jack that just needs to be resealed.
No, I don't think I need one. A bumper jack.
A floor jack?
No, it's a bumper jack.
It actually goes underneath the bumper and lifts it like this. It's a big old cylinder about this big around. Yeah, it's old school.
Oh, yeah?
It's bitching, though, because it'll lift. Whoop. All right, I got a bunch of that stuff I need to get rid of. Anyone want an engine hoist that just needs a cylinder?
Yeah.
Well, if you want.
What was the question? You need what?
An engine hoist that just needs a cylinder.
Oh, I'm not that far yet.
Yeah, I know you don't want to do that. Okay, so direct current has a solid line and a dotted line, which should remind you of all the videos of all the circuits I've been showing you. And this thing right here is the signal you get when you have a coil next to rotating magnets. So that's alternating current. That's direct current. You got that?
Yes.
Yep.
Next page. Oh. Okay, let's see. So I got my meter. I'm going to put the selector to.
Okay.
That's volts DC, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now I got my battery right here. Coronavirus.
Hmm.
Hey, Michelle, you gonna give me my dollar yet?
Yeah, as soon as I see you.
I told you. Okay, so the positive wire is going to go to the positive terminal.
Mhm.
The negative wire is going to go to the negative
Negative terminal.
Mhm.
terminal. And a fully charged battery is
12.6
to
6 is
13.2.
13.2.
volts DC.
See.
Now, if it's 12.2, does that tell you got a bad battery?
Yeah.
That just means you have a weak battery.
Just discharged. Charge it.
Okay.
Now, folks, actually, technically, if your battery only reads 12 volts, that means it's halfway discharged. That means you're going to have to charge it for a long time. And remember, what is charging anyway? It's stripping the electrons off one plate and putting them on the other plate. I think of it this way. If I dig a shovel full of dirt from here and I put it over here and I keep doing it, this is going to create a hole that keeps getting deeper. This is going to create a hill that keeps getting higher, right?
Yeah.
So the more I do that, the more different these two places become. Now, if I was to put a board between here and I had a skateboard on it, it would roll, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And the greater the difference, the faster it would roll.
Mhm.
That's what voltage is all about, you know. That's why 1200 volts will zap you harder than 12 will. Okay, so a fully charged battery is 12.6 to 13.2 volts. If you don't have that, just charge it. You'll be fine.
What the hell?
What the hell's that?
Hope that wasn't you, Rudy.
That wasn't me.
Train.
That was funny.
Okay. Engine running. Now, this used to be pretty simple, but now it's gotten a little more complicated. Engine running. The voltage should be
13.6.
to 15.2. It don't matter. It's somewhere in this range. Now, why is the voltage higher with the engine running?
Because
The
the
battery is being
alternator is
charged.
spinning.
Alternator is charging. Good. Now, there is kind of a problem with this on the modern cars because pretty much most of the modern cars now, if the battery is full, they're going to shut off the charging system. So you're going to be reading battery voltage and you're going to be saying, oh, the battery, charging system's dead. No, do yourself a favor. Rudy, how are you going to get the charging system to come back on?
Turn on everything that uses electricity in the car.
Turn on all the loads, right? Turn on the air conditioning.
Wipers, lights,
Full blast.
stereo, full blast.
That's it. Good.
Defrosters, heated seats.
Heated seats. Yeah, sure. And that will make the charging system kick in. But, pretty much.
In my case, turn on the system.
Now, you see here that it says 13.8 to 15.2. That's kind of a pretty wide range. That's like 1.5 volt range.
Like 14.
Let's talk about that for a minute. You got that, incidentally?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't have it.
You probably have it 12 times. Okay, so, look. That's 13.4, and this is 13.8 volts. Could be volts, could be PSI, it doesn't matter. Will electrons flow from here to here?
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
That's the battery. That's the alternator or charging system, however you want to think of it.
Okay.
We will have flow. So that'll charge the battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will the flow be very fast?
No,
No.
not at all.
Okay.
No, it will flow, just not very fast.
Right,
Right.
which means that if we're doing a lot of stop and go driving, the alternator might not have time to recharge the battery enough if we did it all day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go 15.2 and let's call this, 13.4. Will there be flow?
Yes.
Sure.
Substantially.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to give you significant flow. Now, Arnold, do you see that the current flow is going to be proportional to the difference between these two values?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. The greater the difference in pressures, the greater the flow. Now, what we have to avoid, though, remember I squared R? Which one of these is going to create more heat?
The bottom one.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's more flow.
Yep. What do you think heat does to that lead? Lead is a very soft material. The battery plates are made of lead. What do you think the heat does to the battery plates?
Flakes them off.
Yeah, it flakes them off. It chews them up really hard, which is why we want to try to avoid as much heat as we can on the battery. Oh. Yeah. All right. Here's my battery charger. I wish. That's right. I got to get a good battery charger this time around. There we go. And it's got a selector switch on it that says low, medium, and
start.
Or trickle.
Yeah.
Trickle charge.
Okay. And then I got my battery right here. Do I hook up the battery? Do I hook up the charger the same as the voltmeter?
Yes.
Yep. So I'm going to take the red lead over here. Take the black lead over here. Now let's talk about these settings. Boy, that turns out pretty good.
Yeah, that does look pretty good.
Let's talk about these settings. Trickle charge will probably be 13.2 volts, let's say. Now, is that going to charge a battery?
Yes.
Yeah, but it'll take longer.
It'll take a long time, right? And the thing is, if you got 13.2 volts on the charger and you got 12.6 volts in the battery, it will get the battery hot. 13.2 might be too high on trickle. But on low, let's say it's going to be 13.8. Now, can you see that if my voltage is higher, if the difference between these two voltages is higher, I'm going to get more flow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But more heat too.
Yeah,
And more heat.
More heat,
Yep, and
right.
more heat.
Because medium's probably going to be 14.4 and high will probably be 15.2.
High is for starting the engine.
Pretty much. Yeah, because if you leave it on high, what's going to happen to your battery?
Is it going to blow up?
Overheat.
It's going to kick your battery's ass. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So the rule of thumb, which is good, always charge on the lowest practical setting.
So, question, what would those battery tenders run like?
Well, remember, they're regulated voltage. So what they're going to, battery tender is going to run like a what, 12.8 or something like that? Very, very low. That's why it's not really going to recharge your battery if you start your car a lot. Remember, starting your car is going to bring the voltage down way low. Oh, I got a drawing about that I need to show you. But let me finish with this point. Always charge on the lowest practical setting. Now, should I always use trickle charge because after all, I want to preserve the battery?
No.
Depends on
No,
how much
I need to
you
get
need.
this car. I need to get this battery charged so I can start doing diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm a mechanic or whatever, or if I need to get to work, where am I going to put this?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. And it's going to kick the battery's ass, but hopefully you're not going to be doing it for very long.
Right.
Yeah, you don't leave it on there for like an hour.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
High for like 10 minutes at max.
Depending on how dead the battery is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always charge on the lowest practical setting. That's really, really important, folks. Which is why, if the battery's dead, I'll usually kick it on to medium. If I can leave it for 4 or 5 hours, it's going to be better. Hey, Chuck, how are you going to know if the battery's getting too hot?
If it's too hot, you touch it.
Yeah, just put your hand on the side of it. Now, if it gets really hot, this is an important diagnostic tip. If it gets really hot, the water inside the battery is going to boil, and you're going to see a bunch of droplets on the top of the battery. That's telling you that you're charging too much.
Well, I mean, if I see the battery bowed on the side, I'm not going to waste my time.
Well, yeah, but you know what usually causes that boat on the side is freezing. Remember, water expands when it freezes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a battery blow up on me one time. Back in Buffalo, the battery died and it was actually frozen. And when they came out to recharge the battery, the whole thing just blew up.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
That's horrifying because that's lead and acid, neither of which is very good for you.
No.
Well, that explains why you turned out the way you did, Jim.
Yeah. That's true.
You got this, guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's an easy way to think about it that's really going to help.
All right, everyone, I got to go. My laptop's about to die.
Well, maybe you run an extension cord and charge it first.
I would, but my son forgot to put my charger back in the bag.
Oh, he blames it on a child. What the hell?
Well, go get that.
I told him to go take my charger out, but he did.
Go get that battery charger, Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy.
Yeah, get a battery charger. Put it on trickle.
Trickle.
Think of batteries like balloons. All right.
It's under the bed right now. I can feel
What's
it.
Hmm?
Oh, I'm having a rat problem all of a sudden.
A rat?
Sorry, but yeah, I have a rat. It's a long story.
A human rat?
I'm terrified of rodents.
Is his name Willard? His name must be Willard.
No, but I should name him.
I have some cures for that laying at my feet.
Really, I'm desperate. I need him.
Okay, think of it this way. Yeah, it's nice and warm inside your house. If I was a rat, that's where I would go too. Okay, 20 psi in this balloon.
Mhm.
If I push more air into the balloon, am I going to get more pressure or more volume?
More volume.
Both.
Both.
Pressure and volume.
Good. Now, if I let air out of this balloon, am I going to get less pressure or less volume?
Both.
Both.
Good. Same thing's true with batteries. Letting electrons out lowers voltage.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yep.
flow,
Yeah.
that's pressure. And we know that if we let air out of the balloon, we're going to have less pressure. If we let electrons out of the battery, we're going to have less electrical pressure, which is voltage. Yeah? Makes sense?
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, that's going to help you a great deal because when you get your voltmeter out and you test a battery, if the voltage isn't 12.6 to 13.2, somehow the electrons have gotten out. So what do you need to do? You need to put them back in. or should I say, take them from one plate and put them on the other. So how do you do that? How do you solve a low voltage problem on a battery?
Charging it.
On the residual draw.
Charge it.
Charge it, yeah, but you have to
I have a
find-
question.
What?
Well, what do you think about those digital load testers to check the cranking amps?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are much nicer than they used to be. Yeah, much nicer than they used to be. Because they're testing battery resistance, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, if you're talking about the load testers I'm talking about, they get really, really hot, right? Why?
Well, they're heating up an element inside the tester.
With what?
Well, that I don't know what the inside is.
What-
Resistance.
No. What creates all heat? What creates all heat in electric circuits?
Electrons.
Yeah, the flow of electrons.
Electrons.
Right?
Yeah.
I squared
Yeah.
R. Yep. That's it.
I squared
Which is
R.
why you can't do that test for more than 15 seconds, right? Yeah. What is that test? 1/2 CCA for 15 seconds?
Uh-huh.
What's CCA?
Yeah.
Full cranking amp, something like that?
Oh,
Full
cool. Okay.
cranking
Cranking amps.
Okay.
amps.
I heard about those.
So let me go like that. What we're talking about, what Chuck's talking about is load testing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And what we're doing is we are going to run a whole bunch of current through this thing, and we're going to see how far down the voltage goes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's the one. That's similar to that. That's the one. That's the same as the one I used to have at school.
Oh, yeah, it says Montclair High right here.
Yeah. Hey, man, I still got your tools. What's going on with that?
Hmm?
I still got your tools.
Well, I mean, we'll get to class and I'll get them then.
You're not missing them yet?
I just bought another torque wrench. I just
Gotcha.
replaced all the parts I needed.
Oh, shit. Well, it's good to have a backup, I guess. You didn't need to do that, Chuck.
No,
Or you can tell it to me.
You know, my only transportation now is the Z06. You know, this was the worst part, Chuck. I had one of my ex-students rebuild the Hydro Boost, and it failed. After all that work, that thing is such a bear to put in.
What kind of car do you have now?
The 99 Suburban.
Oh, okay.
It's got a hydraulic brake booster instead of a vacuum operated.
Uh-huh.
So that was $215 my price with a $45 core charge. But what the hell? Now I got to try to get them over here and do that job again, which nobody's looking forward to, I'm sure. Okay, so the question is, if I'm pulling all that current out of the battery, is the voltage going to go down?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just like if I pull air out of the balloon, what happens to the pressure?
Goes down.
Goes down too, right? There
Yep.
you go. Okay. Well, on the charging system, we have a regulator. You got this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are we doing to the battery voltage when we're charging the battery?
Increasing it.
Going up.
That's it. Good. Charging system.
Mhm.
The heart of the charging system is the alternator.
Yep.
But the alternator also has
Regulator.
regulator. What does the regulator do?
Regulates.
Regulates the flow.
Regulates, yeah.
Controls the charge.
Yeah.
It controls the charge to make sure that it's 13.8 to 15.2, yeah. Now, if I put too much air in the tire, what does the tire do?
Low.
Pops, yep. Now, if this regulator goes bad and starts kicking 18 volts into the battery, what do you think the battery's gonna do?
Burn out.
Overheat.
Yeah, it'll explode, sure. Sure,
Explode. Wow.
sure. Battery explosions are terrible. Make sure it doesn't happen to you. That's why I was freaking out. You know, you remember what was it, earlier this semester when someone laid a wrench between the two posts of the battery?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've never had anyone get seriously hurt in 31 years of teaching auto, which is an amazing record. But that's because I'm paranoid, you know,
Yeah.
which, you know, it's good for students.
Right.
So whatever. So my point was the alternator. Alternator looks like this, a big old can like that, and it's got a pulley on the front. Which is that right there is drive belt.
Yep.
Drive belt is driven by what?
Frank?
Crankcase. Crankshaft.
Camper pulley.
Crankshaft pulley. Good. Okay.
Dave, that looks like a roll of toilet paper.
Little.
Yeah, I hope you're stocked up by now. Well, the way it's going, we can use our copies of the Constitution.
Right, isn't that sad?
Quack. Yep. Right of the people to peaceably assemble shall not be abridged. It was a fine idea at the time. What do you know about Elvis Costello?
He's my favorite of all time. Of all time.
Yeah, that song, that album, that whole album is really great.
Yeah. He's really awesome.
Okay, so there's all these cooling vents all over the alternator. Why?
Because it gets hot inside.
What makes it hot, Jim?
The flow of current.
The flow of current. That's it. And it's probably got a fan here. And it's probably got a fan back here. You don't know.
No.
What's the fan there for?
Cooling.
Cool it off.
We increase the airflow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the drive belt's going to spin the alternator. The alternator has magnets on the inside. The magnets spin. We got a big old coil of wire around it, so we get all this induced voltage that we'll talk about either next week or the week after that. Folks, you're going to be in really good shape. Make sure you're here because the next 3 weeks are going to be awesome. Now, if you want a final, I'll give you a final, but personally, to me, it just means losing a day of instruction, and I don't want to lose a day of instruction.
No, I don't either.
I think we've done that enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that before. Okay, so some alternators alternator output could be 80 amps, could be 110 amps, could be 200 amps.
Depending on the size of the engine?
No.
Dave? No?
Nope. What's it depending on the size on? Now,
Depends on the power
before you
consumption.
answer that, I'm sorry, were you saying something, Arnold?
Depends on the power draw of the battery. On the
Good.
battery.
Good. Yeah. Good. For instance, if you were Jerry Witt and you had a 18-wheeler with a bunch of lights going down the trailer, that's a lot of power draw. You would have to have an alternator that produces all kinds of current, yeah? Let me ask you a question, though. What do you think that's going to be cheap? 200 amps?
No.
That's really expensive, and it's big, and it's heavy because it's got so much copper in it. Most of your automotive alternator is going to be rated about 80 amps. A high-powered one, like on a cop car, would be like 110, 120. Let me ask you a question. When the cop pulls you over, how come he doesn't turn off his car?
Because that's when all the damage to the engine takes place. So they just let him idle.
That's not why.
Really?
Is the cop going to keep his lights on?
Because he doesn't want to He doesn't want to restart the car.
Well, no, it's because he doesn't want to go in to restart the car and find out that it needs
Dead.
to jump.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he's leaving on his computer and he's got his lights on, and these are significant power draws.
Yeah.
So Arnold is exactly correct. The alternator sizing is going to be based on the power consumption, which is why if you have a hopper, you know what a hopper is?
Yep. Hydraulics.
Car with hydraulics,
Okay.
got a lot of batteries. Or if
Yeah.
you have a Bang & stereo system, you're going to get the bigger alternator just so that you can keep the battery from going dead.
Hmm.
Because when I hit the mad booms on my stereo, listening to Marvin Gaye's greatest hits, yeah, it can drain a battery really quick. Surprising. You know, we had the when they were installing that Hydro Boost in the 99 Suburban, they had the door open for like 5 hours. So after they got it installed, I was like, jump in the truck, now we'll see if it works. And the battery was just dead. Now, if you leave the door open for 6 hours, that's going to leave the dome light on for 6 hours, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
2 amp draw for 6 hours?
Yeah, that'll kill it.
Yeah, quack. All right, so alternators.
Or short.
When I had a C20 truck, I actually had an alternator that had a twin pulley. So it had 2 of these drive belts. Why?
More
Well, you had
It had a high output alternator and this belt, one belt couldn't hold it.
right.
It would just sit
The
there. and
demand.
squeak.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, just sit there and squeak.
To meet
Yep.
the demand.
All right,
Right?
you got that?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Almost over. I'm sorry. It's almost over. Well, we're done at 9, so we're good.
That's a V belt. These are drive belts. Huh. Where are you going to see a serpentine belt?
On most modern cars,
Most modern cars, sure.
New cars.
V belt tends to be old school.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you one thing, don't get your fingers between the V belt and the pulley. It'll break them right up. Yeah, it'll snap them quick.
Yeah, you won't have a finger.
Like nothing, yeah. Yeah.
there's one more belt,
Timing belt?
stretch belt.
Stretch belt. Oh my God, here it comes.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Chuck, tell us about the stretch belt.
I was doing some maintenance on my Ford Fusion. I was changing the radiator hoses, and I decided to change the serpentine belt. The serpentine belt drives the air conditioning and the alternator, but it does not drive the power steering. So there's a separate belt for that.
Oh, yeah.
So I put the serpentine belt, not a problem, but the power steering belt is bolted directly to the head. There is no adjustment for tightening.
Really?
Correct. And you have to, there's a special tool to take the belt off, but in reality, you just cut it. But to put the belt on, you have to stretch it over the pulley to get it on. Naturally,
Really?
the belts are shorter, so you have a heck of a time trying to put it on or trying to figure it out how to put it on.
Sure. Does it have those grooves in it?
Yeah, it had grooves like a serpentine.
Because a lot of times this will have like little things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But it was thinner.
Now, is it important that you get this centered on the pulley?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is important. See, because basically what this is like 6 or 8 little V belts. Yeah. Basically, that's what its function is. Now, here's the thing. I got the alternator right here. I'll just do a block diagram. And I've got the battery right here. Which way is the flow?
That way.
This way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Better be. Now, what happens if I have resistance in that connection?
It goes down. The flow goes down.
Yeah, but the thing is, the alternator is just going to try harder. See,
Okay.
this is like
And it's not going to charge the battery.
You know, when you eat too many chicharrones and your artery used to be this big, but then it becomes this big from all the crap that's inside it. Well, for instance, isn't that why they put a stent in? What is that, plaque?
Yeah.
Incidentally, medical question for 5 points. What causes that plaque?
Well, they used to say cholesterol, but now they're saying sugar. They're changing it. They've told us the wrong stuff all these years.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, wonderful.
Be sure to wear a mask. It'll fix everything. Yeah, well, they used to say it was cholesterol, but if you plug the artery, now, if you plug the artery, what's the heart going to do as a result?
Pump harder to
It's going to
overcompensate.
pump harder, yeah. And that's what's going to happen if you have resistance in this connection. The alternator is going to try harder and harder and harder to charge that battery, and it's just going to beat the hell out of the alternator.
So it'll wear out totally faster?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that was a significant issue on Fords from probably early 80s to 2000, maybe even today. What happened was you had resistance in the ground connection on the battery, and the alternator was trying like hell, but the battery was never fully charged. So the starter's trying like hell because the battery's not fully charged. And as a result, people would end up replacing the starter, the battery, and the alternator, and it still wouldn't solve the problem because the problem was the battery cables.
Yeah.
You ever seen that? On Fords for like 20 years, maybe longer, that was the first thing you checked, man. Now, how are you going to check? How are you going to check the resistance of the battery cables? Well, I will show you that either next week or the week after that. But folks, we're going to have. Hey, Chuck, did you learn anything?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yes.
Good, man. Did that help, Arnold?
Good.
Arnold fell asleep. Yeah.
That was a great class. Yeah.
Good, man. Hope it helped.
It did a lot.
It's 9/11, not it's the good 9/11.
9/11, yeah.
Okay. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a
Have
good
a good week.
Appreciate it.
Fun.
Emery, I'll call you.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Rockcliffe.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Thomas.
Good night.
Appreciate
Bye,
it. See you soon.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Ciao.
Bye, everybody.